my sister was supposed to pick up my mother from this side. Now somebody got shot outside her complex. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to do this learning from. The Vila start in the car.
Let's say, where did someone get shot? Where are you?
Yeah, someone got shot
in Coventry and Lakewood. Not a from person.
Oh boy!
So they closed down the streets.
Coventry?
What?
There's not from people living in Coventry?
Sure, they're full of Mexicans, drugs, the whole deal.
Really?
That's what they say. Anyway, so I might have to pause it to try and find a place to learn. Okay, either way, I guess let's start. It's a pretty easy daf. Bottom of Tzadi Aleph, Amud, Beis, right? That's what we got up to. Yeah? We all there?
Yeah.
Okay, so onen, right? So the halachas of onen are that until the person not allowed to do any sort of mitzvahs until the kvura. But onen with deoyraysa is only from that till shkia, till that night. Then even if they haven't buried, that's not onen with deoyraysa. But the chachamim anyways made it into onen. Yeah. So the shaila is if somebody loses a relative on erev pesach, and can they have pesach shechted for them, because that night the aninas is only the Rabanan. So what's the other option? To be chayiv karas for not bringing a korban pesach, right? So if it's a deoyraysa, so deoyraysa and a deoyraysa cancel each other out. But if it's a deoyraysa and the Rabanan, so then the chayra you'd have to you should cancel out under the Rabanan. So that's what the Mishna says. So onen tovel v'oichel is pisvei erev. So one of the things also onen has to do is he has to be tovel, even if he didn't touch the mace, he has to be tovel. So onen tovel v'oichel is pisvei erev. He eats his korban pesach in the evening. Avaloi kodshim, but we don't allow for kodshim. The reason why we allow him, even though he's still in onen, but he's in onen with the Rabanan. And the korban pesach, which is a chiyuv kodshim, is more important. So we allow him to eat the korban pesach at night.
But an onen nowadays, an onen has to be in the mikva when? Before he eats the korban pesach?
No, I didn't know. No, not nowadays. Not nowadays. No, back then it was tumentara.
How can he send the shliach to do it if he has no chiyuv in the korban pesach because he's an onen?
I mean, how's the shliach doing it for him?
Yeah.
I thought that the shlichus was made before.
But if he has no din in onen, so I mean he has no din in korban pesach that day. So how's he make? You got to be in it to make a shliach.
No, but lamaisa he's gonna be in it pesach by night.
But the shechting part.
But the shechting part, right? But lamaisa he's gonna be in it by night.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Mamela, since it's going to be chalfim at night, so he's allowed to. I don't think the shechit. I mean, we know the shechit is not exclusive for him, right? The shechit is for everybody. He's just meztora.
No, he's just part of that group. You mean?
Yeah. I don't know if that's a teretz, but yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it works. I gotta. Yeah.
So he can't. It's interesting. So he can't eat other kodshim. He can't eat other kodshim because he's a onen, but he could eat the korban pesach, right? Mm-hmm. What about the chagiga that accompanies the korban pesach? Mustama not also, I would think.
Rashi says that it's only because there's a din kares that they allow you to eat the korban pesach.
Correct.
So that's a chilik. I'm saying that's why you don't have chagiga.
Right, but the korban pesach lemaisa is supposed to be in alasriya, right? So how much is that part of it?
Mistama, you still yaitse if it's not on Svia.
No? It can be. You just don't have to have Svia on meat. They do it on the carbon because the carbon is there. But you could do it on Pringles also. The Svia could be on top of Pringles.
Well, okay, but I'm saying no, but Lamais you need to be full. So you say you can get
Yeah,
full
so
something other than
you don't
kodshim.
have to be full because of the car. I mean, the lechatchila get full on top of another carbon, kodshim. But if you don't have it, so you don't have it. No, you eat a lot of applesauce.
Right. And okay, but I just wonder if that's considered part and parcel of the korban. So Mamela, he would be able to be part of that too. Okay, whatever it is. So, anyways, he's not allowed to eat kodshim, but he could eat korban pesach. Then another case, shemei al mezora. This is somebody. Unfortunately, a couple of these cases are corona type cases. Shemei al mezora. If you only hear about it, yeah.
Do you have him? And it was bothering me in the Mishna Brew. I saw Shabbos about onen, about Purim. So that right. I mean, you know better than me. I think nobody puts on tefillin today, even after the kfura. Right. But the prima garden probably says to put on tefillin. So we just makavek the prima garden. Like
I don't know. I got to look at it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, so Hashemei al Mesa, and these next things are corona sort of. Hashemei al Mesa means somebody who hears about the mace, but obviously he's not there, right? But since he's not there, so he's not going to be going to the base of Kvaris. So, but he has to sit shiva that day. If it depends, if it's what do you call it? It's how do you call it? Not rechaika krayim. It depends on when they find out. If
maybe lavdafka corona. It could be that the guy lives. He didn't find out he lives in far away, and they didn't have the same emails like today.
Right, correct. Well, either that or also the elderly. Sometimes, if you don't want them, we had this a while ago, right? We have this in here. Yeah. Right. That if you don't want to let them know, so you tell them later.
You tell them right. Yeah.
And then v'hamalaka, right? V'hamalaka lo yatzamas, and if you malakat that tzamas, this is mamish corona because it's people who were nifter who were supposed to be buried in Eretz Yisrael, and they didn't bury them in Eretz Yisrael because they couldn't get there, so they bury them with a tanai that they're going to move them. Right. So that's the day that they malakat that tzamas, that they gather the bones. So then that's that day you have to sit. That day somebody has to sit shiva. Right, so that day is erev pesach. That day is erev pesach. Then you have a thing. Yeah.
Dave. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the aunt I was talking to you about, Yingi Ganut's aunt. That's how she was buried in Miami. Then they brought it to New York. And then a few months later, Mamish on tonight. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So that day. Right. So that day though is a day of Avelos. So tovel v'aychel, and then so there those cases too. The tovel and the aychel. Tovel v'aychel b'kodshim. They could be tovel, and they could also eat kodshim, right? Because that's not nearly as it's only the Rabanan. Even that day, the whole Avelis is the Rabanan, so that's fine. Gershon is Gaya Erev Pesach. A ger who became a ger on Erev Pesach. B'shamei and tovel v'aychel is pisai la'erev. A ger who became a ger on Erev Pesach, so he does his tefillah. And he eats the korban based on the night. But still, I don't know. Pirish min arla, pirish min kever. Somebody who's pirish from arla is pirish from the like he's being pirish from the kever. Right. So the meaning Basil holds that. Okay, we can see in the Gemara why Basil says what he says. So the Gemara, my timer. So what's the reason? So kasavar aninos. The Laila the Rabanan, they hold that Aninus of night is the Rabanan. Because Pesach, the brain from Malcolm Chorus, and by Pesach they weren't going to make. They're not going to keep it the Rabanan, and then you're going to be chayiv Chorus, right? The chayiv Chorus obviously is a lot more important than the Rabanan. By kodshim and the brain from Malcolm Masay, but by kodshim they were aimed their words in Malcolm Masay, right? Which is interesting too. Because in Lamaisa, they're giving more chashivas to the Rabanan over mitzvah deoyraysa. Right? You see what the Chacham was saying, that it's only an onen mit the Rabanan. Yet there's a mitzvah to say to eat kodshim. And they're saying, no, our Issa the Rabanan takes precedence over the Asay. So Karis, they weren't willing to go that far, but for the mitzvah to say they were willing to. Which gets into the whole sugya. How do they stop Tkiyah Shofar on Rosh Hashanah? How do they stop Lulav and Esrog on Sukkos? Right, put him too, really, put him too. Put him on Shabbat. This is this week, Doctor, right? For Eretz Yisrael. Right? Okay. Fine. So Shemei al Mesoi. So Gemara says, Malakat Atzamas Aboy Hazah Shlish Yishvi. What do you mean? A Malakat Atzamas, if you were the one that takes out the bones, so you need your tamei regular tamei mace. You need 3 and 7 days with the sprinkle and chatas. So Gemara says, Amos Shaliktu Loy Atzamas. No, it doesn't mean that he's the one that took out the bones. It just means that it was done on his behalf, like there was a Chaver Kadisha, and that was that. Right? Fine. Gershon is Gaia. So again, as Machlokes Beishamay Beis Hillel, if a guy becomes a ger on erev Pesach, which is a very interesting time to become a ger, but if a guy becomes a ger on erev Pesach, so Beishamay says he eats a korban Pesach by night. Beis Hillel says no, he's got to wait. He's got to wait. So meaning to Pesach sheni, I guess. I don't know, Taka. Does he have to wait to Pesach sheni, or he's just potter? I'm not sure. Okay, so Amar Rabbi Chanan Rabbi Yochanan Machlokes by arel nachri. The whole Machlokes is by an arel who's a nachri, right? Because Beis Hillel holds that he's afraid that maybe the next year on erev Pesach this ger is going to become tamei. Last year did I not tovel and eat? Right, even though he was by tamei mace. He says this year, even though I'm a yid, not even though I'm a yid, and last year I was tamei, and it became and I was able to eat the korban pesach by night. So this year too. I
mean, most of us forget what we did the year before and have to ask anew every year.
Right? You're saying here he doesn't. Right?
I'm saying we remember what we did last year erev Pesach. Who remembers?
Correct. But it's interesting because this is going on the Gerim who were saying that they're not educated enough. So these are obviously guys that have good memories, and we're still saying that they don't understand. Right? It's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting point. But anyway, so he's saying, and he doesn't know. Last year he was a goy. Goyim are not makabel tumah. Nowadays, the next year he's a yid. He's makabel tumah, and he can't. He needs to wait 7 days. So it's a gezeira from Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai says there's no gezeira. Arel Yisrael, but in arel Yisrael, he can be tovel his pesach in the evening. And there's no gezeira of arel Yisrael because of arel nachri.
We're gonna make exhumed milk. We're gonna make exhumed milk of the shchicha.
It's I guess he must have held that's shchicha. I don't know. It's I guess he held it's shchicha for I don't know. You're right. Your question is better than any teretz I'm going to give you. I hear. Right. It's a good question. Right.
I mean,
it's I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. It sounds like a far-fetched gezeira. Yeah. Let's see.
No, this is Yaakov. This is perfect. Because the Megillah says a whole bunch of the goyim became Eden because of Nes Purim.
Okay.
So it's right before Pesach, no?
Right. Very good. So Tani Nami Achi Amr Shem Elazar Lo Nafla Bisham Yisrael Arel Yisrael Shetovel VaOichel Es Pisla Erev, that he's tovel and he eats his pesach in Erev. Almanachil Go Arel Alaro Nachri. The whole Machlokes is by a guy. Shebishami Aram Tovel VaOichel Es Pisla Erev. He's tovel and he eats his korban pesach in the evening. V'Sol Amrim a parish min ha'arla, ke parish min ha'kever. V'Sol says no, if you parish from the arla, you parish from the kever, and therefore you don't consider tamei, and he has to wait till next year. Which the second is down is very interesting. It says all Yisrael Dibra called tovel tamei riva the lematzino b'shum makom tefila b'Yisrael shemal tefila midrabanan. He never saw anywhere any makar whatsoever that a yid has to tovel after bris, right? Which is very interesting that the Taisus would have that type of kasha. Like this Gemara is a makar, but yeah. Anyways, okay, right. Omar Rava. Yeah. So arel, hazah, ve'izmil. So three cases: the case of an arel, the case of hazah, which is putting on the chatas. If somebody's seventh day is erev pesach, so we had this before. So it's a Rabanan, right? We're being masak in the person. We had this a couple of times. We're being masak in the person by sprinkling the blood on him erev pesach. So he's becoming tahar. Right? He's becoming tahar, and so he could bring the korban pesach by night. But we said no. If it's Shabbos, if erev pesach shechal Shabbos, he's not allowed to sprinkle himself with chatas, and therefore he's out of the korban pesach, even though that's the Rabanan pushing off a deoyraysa. Right? The ismol and a knife, the mila knife, and either the ramba malkam karas. In those three cases, they said that the Rabanan is more important than even a chiyuv karas. Those are those three. Three other cases, onen meztora Beis hapras. So somebody who's an onen, like we learned in our Mishna, there they said that the karas is more important, and the meztora, somebody has tzaras Beis hapras, and the Beis hapras is the field that has the body that was plowed into it. So we consider the whole field like it's tamei for a kayin. They weren't aimed the ramba malkam karas. Okay, so arel hodam aron. Arel is what we said, right? So somebody who becomes a ger on erev pesach, right? So even though he's supposed to, he should be able to bring the korban pesach, eat the korban pesach by night, and if he doesn't, it's a chiyuv karas. Still, the chacham made this gezeira, this gezeira Beis hill, right? Hazah, the Amar Mar, hazah shvus. Mar said hazah is a shvus, right? Putting the chatas onto somebody who's tamei is a shvus, ve'ena deoyraysa Shabbos, and it's not deoyraysa Shabbos. And Ismail, the Tanya, kashem shem be an oyster derech shusharam, just like the knife. If they forgot the knife at home in order to make the bris, so they said just like you're not allowed to bring the knife through shusharam because that's deoyraysa. Kachin. That's a Machlokes. Rabbi Eliezer and Mila hold, and Rabbi Eliezer and Mila holds it is okay. But kashem shem maybe an oyster derech shusharam, just like you don't bring it through the shusharam. Kachin maybe an oyster derech shusharam, like derech gagas, derech chatzeres, derech karfifis. You can't even bring it through the roofs, through the yards, and through the fields. Right?
This wouldn't go like Rav Shimon, correct?
This is going to go like Rav Shimon, yes.
Not like
yes,
Rav Shimon.
Very
he
good.
holds it.
Right? So why? No, Rabbi Eliezer.
Rav Shimon who holds that.
Is the one that holds his mutter.
Gagas, karfifas aren't they?
Oh, that Reb Shimon. I thought you were talking about something else. Okay, yeah. It's not going like that. That they're all considered one big rishus.
Correct.
Yes, yeah, very good. Right? So whatever it is, the Rabanan are saying that you can't do the Mila, even though it's a chiyuv karas. And you can't even, so it's one thing to carry Rishus Harabim, so that's a deoyraysa. But to carry Rishus Harabim, to carry through karfefus and all that, that's a Rabanan. Still, they didn't allow it. Yeah, so those are the three cases where the Rabanan said that to do an Issa the Rabanan, to save from karas, we're not going to do. Onen and onen hodamaran. Onen. So now the other three cases where we said we arm about the Rabanan. So onen hodamaran. We said in our Mishna that we push off the onen. Meztora, what's the case of meztora? The tani meztora shechal shmini shel erev pesach. So meztora, his 8th day, when he's supposed to be able to bring the korban pesach, we had that on Friday. So his 8th day is yeah.
So, but there's no chorus because they said you can't do it. You can't carry the ismol. So
but Lamaisa, what's more important? Something that theoretically would be chorus, or a Rabanan. Right?
I understand. I understand what
I don't think
you're
it means that the guy's going to be. You mean you're saying that the Rabanan are not making the guy chayiv chorus?
Right. There's no way. There's no way, because then you'd have the case with Shabbos. The guy's going to do the bris. If they say he's still chayiv chorus, he's going to do the bris mila.
Or you could say it's pikuach nefesh. I mean, you're supposed to be machal Shabbos to save somebody, right? So the guy's going to be chayiv chorus. So why aren't you machal Shabbos? Right.
Very good. Yeah.
Right. So what it means, I think it's a Gemara, like somebody asked that kasha. But anyways, but it means that in the severity of how could the Rabbanon put themselves ahead of the chiyuv karas? Yeah. So that's exactly the point. So by onen hadamar, we said onen taka the Rabbanon goes away. Meztora mahi the tani meztora shechal shmini shel erev pesach. So meztora that its 8th day falls on erev Pesach, v'ra keri by b'yayim, and then he sees keri that day. Tovel v'aychel, he can still be tovel and eat, even though normally a Baal Keri wouldn't be able to, right? But this guy he's a double winner, right? It's his 8th day. He also saw Keri, right? And he has to leave the Machane Yisrael, right? That we had, I don't even remember where we had this. I thought we had this, no? So he has to leave, maybe not. So you have to leave the Machane Yisrael, right? So then he needs Tahara for 3 days, right? So I'm sorry, that's not. He needs Tahara for that day. So really, he can't. How is he going to bring the korban pesach? So, but here, that Amro Chachamim, here in this case, Afal Pi Tovel Full Yom Ein Nichnas. Even though a full Yom, somebody's Tovel that day, he still has to wait till night in order to come in. Zed Nichnas. This guy is allowed to come in. Why? Because Mutav Yaveh Yasei Sheyesh by Karas, V'yitcha Yasei Sheyesh by Karas. This that they can't come into the Machane is at the Rabanan. Better that be over on the Rabanan. Then v'yitcha asay she'en by koros and b'doychad asay that it doesn't have koros. V'amar Rav Yochanan, Dvar Torah afilu asay ain't by, and Rav Yochanan holds it's not even an asay. I'm sorry, I explained Rav Yochanan first. It's 2 asays according to him. So the asay of koros is more important than stam straight asay. And Rav Yochanan says Dvar Torah afilu asay ain't by deoyraysa even an asay there's no problem. Shenever v'yamad yoshafad v'kahal Yehuda v'Yerushalayim v'Beis Hashem l'fnei chatzar v'chadosh. He stood in front of the new chatas. My chatas chatas. What does it mean? The chatas chatas. Shechitzu by davar. They were mechadish something in Va'amron, and they said full yom la yikanas b'machan levia. They were mechadish a new chiddush that the full yom can't go into the machan levia, but that was their chiddush. That was not from the Torah. Right. So therefore, it's even a Rabanan. Fine. So that's the case of meztora and Beis hapras the Tanan that we learned in the Mishna of Shav and Beis Hillel both agree. So basically what you do is you have this field that there's tumah in it because you know that a mace got plowed into it and it broke up the mace and these little pieces of mace all over the field. So you're not allowed to go in there, right? A kohen can't go in there. Anybody who doesn't want to be tamei can't go in there. But Beis Hillel both agree that if somebody needs to get through that field to be marked the korban pesach, so you can do bedika. How's he going to do bedika? He bends down. You bend down and you blow the ground.
He had that, yeah. We had that.
Yeah, where do we have? I mean, yeah, it's it comes up a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see the Gemara. So Shabbat can loise pesach, yeah. So you buy it for loise pesach. Ain't buy can likely truma, but you don't do it for those that are going to eat truma. That you don't do. What you have to do is either wait, right, or go around. Right until whatever it is, but you have to figure out an eitzah. My bite can like the pesach. What does it mean to be bedik? To do bedik? What you do is you bend over and you blow it, and if you blow it, if there's any bones there, you're going to blow away the bones, and that's enough. He disagrees with the whole thing, and he doesn't disagree. He says that if it was trampled on, meaning a lot of people walked across the field, then it works, right? Then that's because it's going to be it's going to be destroyed, so therefore that's going to be fine. All right. So Hadron Allah, Perek, you got your time ready?
Can you use a leaf blower to blow away the bones?
I would think so. No, probably better than your breath.
I don't know. Does it have to be a din in the breath? Like to take a fan or something. I don't know.
Isn't it a din in isn't it a
bowing
din
down?
No, it's a din in blowing it. So why wouldn't a leaf blower work?
Maybe the person. I don't know.
Huh?
I'm just asking. I don't know. It would sound like an easier
Rashi
way to do things.
Rashi got asked a kasha. Well, why is it a tumas oil? You're bending over and you're blowing it, right? Isn't that tumas oil? That should be tumas oil.
You're right over it.
Okay. Yeah, you're standing over it.
Yeah.
Maybe blowing it from a distance.
He says so. No, Rashi answers is not enough. For tumas oil, you need actually a ripe of a body, bones. Bones will only tumas maga. A body will not make Oh, not it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do halacha isha? Yeah. Okay. Talk the next Perek. Misha, last Perek of kodshim. Yeah. So Misha tamei or b'derech rechaika. Somebody was tamei who was far away. And he didn't do the pesach rishon. Yasas sheni. Then he does pesach sheni, right? As we've been learning. Shogeg onenas. Let's say he was a shogeg who was an ones. Yasas rishon, and he didn't do pesach rishon. Yasas sheni. Then he does the pesach sheni. Im kain lomanem or tamei or shaya b'derech rechaika. If that's the case, and it applies to all shogeg and ones, so why is the pasuk saying dafka tamei or shaya b'derech rechaika? It's anybody for whatever reason. If you didn't do pesach rishon, so you do pesach sheni. So she'elu paturim meikaris, ve'elu chayav beikaris, because these are potter from karis, and these are going to be chayav for karis, right? Yeah. So the ones that are far away are going to be potter, and if you stop.
What does it mean? These are potter, these are chayav.
The ones that are the tamei derech rechaika are going to be potter from karis if they bring in the pesach sheni, right? And the other, if you stam an ones, then you're not going to be. Well, would you have to see in the Gemara exactly what this means, right? Yeah. So let's hold up and see how the Gemara goes. There is no. That's the problem. There is no real pashut shot on this. But Rashi says it's tamei derech rechaika shogeg and onas. Right, and then he says veilu and veilu chayam bekaris is what do you call it? He says l'kam mafaris. So in the Gemara mafaris, so we have to see. So yeah, so let's see. So Zakti Gemara itmar hayu b'derech rechaika. If somebody was far away, v'shachtu b'zarkolov, and somebody was very nice and he shechted for him, and he did the zrika. Rav Nachman Amar Hurtza. Rav Nachman says that works. Right, then he doesn't have to bring pesach sheni. Shesha says it doesn't work. He has to go, even though somebody had him in mind with the pesach rishon, he's got to do pesach sheni.
So if Shesha said all cars had to be in the shrine, 4 million Jews had to be in the shrine.
Yeah, that's whatever. Yeah, that's what you have to do. I mean, lechatchila. No, you see, if you want, you can go to pesach sheni, right? But you have to do one or the other. The whole point is that if they have you in mind, if they have you in mind, then does that work or not to get you out of pesach sheni, right? That's the whole Machlokes. Everybody holds it's either pesach rishon or pesach sheni. It doesn't make a difference where you live in the world. You got to do it, right? So Rav Nachman Amar Hutza meichasut chas rachman alav. The reason why the Torah made you made a person that's far away be able to go to Pesach Sheni is because the Rachmana, the Torah had Rachmanas. The oven tovel bracha. But if he does come from far away, then he gets a bracha. Right?
The Rachmanas is that they didn't force him to come.
Yeah.
What's the Rachmanas?
Yeah. It's too hard for him to come to Yerushalayim. So they said, okay, so you go Pesach Sheni. Now, why are you saying, why is it any less Rachmanas for Pesach Sheni?
Yeah.
No, I guess he's got another 30 days to get there now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he only had a whole year to get there the first time. Now he's got another 30 days.
You always got to do that, right? You give him a warning, and then...
Shmuel David, they were getting $100 a day to rent mules before regular Pesach, and only $50 a day to rent them before Pesach Sheni.
So that's why we had Rachmanis on him, so he could make it. So he could save $50.
That's right. Why not?
Why?
Yeah,
yes.
Basically.
Jüdische Geld. No.
Then everybody would do it.
I don't know. Any geld, Rabanan, any geld.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. So anyway, so the Rav Nachman does add Rachmanis, but if he got somebody to have him in mind, so fine. But he still has to make it to Yerushalayim by night, right? I mean, he's not going to be yaitza if he stays far away. Yeah. It's not. It doesn't work. No, they pushed him off just like somebody who's tamei. Somebody who's tamei can't bring the korban pesach. If you're far away, you can't bring the korban pesach. Right? That's Rav Sheshes shita. So now the Gemara is going to go through a few scenarios here. Some of Rav Nachman, how do I know? The Tanan Misha tamei b'derech rechaika it's a rishon, and somebody who's far away, or he's tamei and he didn't do the rishon. Yasas sheni. He does the sheni. Right? Michlal. What does it sound like? The boy avad. Right? What's the lashon? He's far away and he didn't do the rishon. Michlal the boy avad. It sounds like if he had the option, right? He could have had it. Right? Why you just say if he was far away and finished? Yeah. So then, so you see, it can't be somebody who's tamei because he for sure can't. He doesn't have an option. So it has to be somebody who's far away, right? And he didn't have anybody to be mitzvah with the first one or to have him in mind with the first one, but the second one, yeah, right? Michlal boy avan for Rav Sheshes. So that's Rav Nachman's proof. Rav Sheshes Amalach no. If that's the case, Seifa, what about the Seifa? The Ketani shogeg nenas v'loy asa as a rishon yasas a sheni. If he was a shogeg or an ones, and he didn't do the rishon, he should do the sheni. But the Ketani v'loy asa michlal boy avan. This that we said that if he didn't do it, so it sounds like that if he wanted to, then he could have done it. Yes, and if that's the case, hare shogeg v'reyanas, that is the definition of shogeg and ones. Right? Otherwise, how could he? Meaning he could not have brought it if he's a shogeg and ones. Right? He's making the opposite diak. Yeah. Right. So he's shogeg v'reyanas. Elamezid katani ba'adayu must be that we're including mezid in with the rest of it. Hachanami onen katani ba'adayu. So too, we're also including onen. Right. So therefore, since it's talking about onen and a what do you call it? An onen and a what did I just say? Right, no, I'm sorry, mezid. It's an onen and a mezid. So therefore, it's also talking about onen and mezid. That's what there's to, not somebody that had the option of theoretically being yaitza. So Amar Rav Ashi must be the nami deka. The Ketani, the Mishna is also like that. The Ketani elu turin meikaris ve'elu chayav meikaris. These are patron karis. These are chayav meikaris. Hey, what's that case going on? Ilema shogeg and enas. Right? How can it be going on shogeg and ones? Just lost the place. Shogeg enas b'nei karis ninu. Are they b'nei karis? Elalav amezid onen. It must be going on mezid and onen. Which we still need a hezber, so then why would an onen be chayav karis or not chayav karis? That we have to see right. Fine. So but Rav Nachman Amalach, so what's Rav Nachman going to do? What's he going to do with the proof from our Mishnah? Amalach, Lailam amezid l'chudei. It's really just going on mezid. Somebody who purposely, when it's saying that somebody gets karis, it's going on somebody who purposely didn't do the korban pesach. And it really should have said chayiv, right? Meaning it should have said chayiv instead of elu. Right? What does it say? Meaning if it's only going on mezid, it shouldn't say she'elu. Elu sounds like these multiple cases. Right? It's multiple cases, but if you're only saying that it's mezid, then it should just say chayiv. Right? If it's only one case, it should have just said chayiv, not elu. Now, the reason why it said chayavin is because since it said in the reisha the chayiv, so mamela in the seifa, it also says chayiv. Right? Right? That's the meaning that the person is, what do you call it? He's chayiv to do. I'm sorry, did I just say chayiv? Did I just say chayiv? I did ton reisha peturin, ton of seifa chayavin, meaning potter and chayiv go along with each other. So since in the reisha it said you potter, so mamela in the seifa, it says going to say chayiv, chayavin plural, right? Ve'elu chayavin, that they're plurals. It's not just mezid. Okay. Amar of Sheshes, how does Rav Sheshes know that the guy, if they might see him, the guy that's at a distance away, Rav Sheshes says he's not yaitza, korban pesach, and he has to go to pesach sheni. The Tanya, Rabbi Kiva, nemar tamei, nemar b'derech rechaika. It says the words tamei in the pasuk and derech rechaika. Ma tamei shasipik biyadi lasles ve'ena isa. A tamei could have been makravit, right? He's there in Yerushalayim. he could have been magra, and then for whatever reason it became tamei. And so after he has the ability to do it because he could get there, but he didn't do it. If he himself didn't do it, then it doesn't work. But Rav Nachman, what's Rav Nachman do with that proof? Rav Nachman Amar Lach Rabbi Kiva l'tamei. But Rav Nachman Amar Lach, and Rav Nachman was going to tell you Rabbi Kiva l'tamei. Rabbi Kiva goes according to his svara the Gesaber ain't shayt and zogan on tamei sheretz. He holds that we don't do shchita and zrik on tamei sheretz. Meaning, even though that night you're going to become tar, right? Tamei sheretz is only tamei that day. He's going to become tar that day. That tamei that night. Still, we don't do it, right? Meaning he's really bad some roy. He's going to be roy that night. So he says we still don't do shchita. We go with the shita that says we do shchita and zrika tamei sheretz. So therefore, the person that's tamei will be able to bring the korban that night. So therefore, you can't compare it to somebody who's at a distance. Okay, fine. Mishkayach, I appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
Shkoyach, mazel tov.
Good enough. Okay,
Good
thank you.
enough.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night, y'all. Perek.